It's time for another episode of Behind the Breeding Barn with Cobbitty Equine Farm. And whilst we're in the depths of yearling sales time, we're still looking back fondly on the season that was from a breeding perspective. The boys, Confederate and Cannibal, they've recently made their way back to North America, but they both were able to serve great books of mares, the tried and trues of the world like King of Swing, For a Reason, Bling It On, having great seasons as well. So lots to reflect upon, and I thought it was a great time to catch up with Wayne Hamilton because he's been a great supporter of the Cobbitty Stallions, and he's sending 3 yearlings to the sales in Sydney, the APG Sydney sales, that all look as though they're going to garner plenty of interest. Thank you very much for your time, Wayne. It's great to catch up, and we do have lots to discuss.
Yes, Britt, great to be here. Thanks very much for having me.
Tell us a little bit about your involvement in harness racing, because I've bought a yearling off you. I'm sure many people have dealt with you from your breeding deeds, but how did you get involved in the sport?
Well, I got involved through family largely. My grandfather was involved, a couple of my uncles on the maternal side were involved in the game, and I got involved through those guys. So I had a little bit to do as a young fellow, and then at school age sort of drifted away as sport and school commitments took over. I then joined the Australian Defence Force as part of the Navy as an officer, spent 17 years there, and I got back involved in harness racing really as a way to ground myself and an escape from the intense lifestyle I was leading. And my uncles facilitated that up here in the Hunter Valley. So got involved in driving, but you know, with the lifestyle with defence, I couldn't really commit to it on a real ongoing basis, and so it was a real hobby thing for me. And then branched out into ownership, racing, and then into breeding. And so having moved into the corporate world, I now find the breeding and owning side, it takes up more of my spare time, and loving it.
Absolutely. Everybody finds their niche, and most people try a few different things in the game. Some people like many of them, but it seems as though breeding is really something you've taken to. And in terms of, I guess, why breeding, have you put your finger on that? Why do you think this is something that you've really started to enjoy? Is it the pedigrees? Is it the process? Is it dealing with the foals around you? What do you think it is?
I think it's a bit of all the above. My 2 uncles that really sort of driven me into the game, one is more into that sort of the racing side, and one is a real student of pedigrees. And I think I've taken a bit from both. I do love the process of trying to work out which stallion to go to, looking at all the crosses, looking what's worked, and also take that analytic approach in what the market is actually seeking. So understanding and trying to predict what that market is going to do 2, 3 years ahead is a real challenge. But then also grounding myself continually through handling and having my family involved with my 3 kids and my wife, actually, you know, handling the foals and doing some education where possible. That is a great leveler, and it certainly brings you back down to earth.
It certainly does. And there's nothing quite like dealing with horses. If you just want to escape for a little bit, they do a remarkable job of, as you mentioned, just that. But in regards to your journey so far, were you always breeding to sell, or what has been that process? And in the last few years, what are some of the names of horses that you have bred that we can follow along with?
Yeah, sure. So initially we sort of bred to race ourselves for the first couple, just to see if we understood the process and we knew what was going on. And then we started to branch out and have some more successful families backing us, horse families that is. And then we started to branch out to breed to sell. And that was driven more by those analytics and my own little drive to be better and better myself. And I saw that the market actually sort of allowed for a broadening of those the bloodlines. And so I've enjoyed that challenge, and that's where I've got into that sort of area of it.
In terms of this breeding season, I guess we worked through different stages, but in terms of foals on the ground, how did that all go?
Yeah, this year we only had 2 mares fall down. One through a nice sized major colt, It's a half brother to Frankincense, who has also bred on with the poster boys Sagano, who did quite well in the Proto Star and a number of races last year. So that family's going very well. So I look forward to him going to the sales next year. And then we've also had a beautiful black filly by Captain Crunch out of Miss Iconic, and one of her first foal is actually going through the sale this year. So her first colt.
Exciting stuff, breeding season and having those foals on the ground. They're all unbeaten at this point in time. That's what I always say. So you never know. You never know what you're going to get. So foals on the ground and rebreedings, how many mares are we looking at for the 2025 season? And I believe you've supported Cobbitty again, maybe a Confederate or Huntsville or two.
Yeah, one of each. So we've had two mares going foal. Frankincense is in foal to Huntsville. Continued that successful line with the Sun Beach Somewhere. The poster boy line. So hoping to get a good one that can probably equal or better Sagano. And then we've taken a Better's Delight mare out of the Barrington Lass family to Confederate. A great cross, with those Better's Delights and that great maternal family. We're hoping will throw a champion.
Absolutely. What about, I guess everybody has different thoughts on breeding, and you've already mentioned looking into the future and what you're intending or hoping people are looking for. You're obviously not afraid to go to first season stallions. We're going to see it with your Yearlings by King of Swing this year, Confederate as well. So you're not afraid to give these new guys a chance?
No, but it all comes back down to their own bloodlines and their own performance on the track. So that performance on the track is going to translate into demand in the market. And if you're breeding to sell, you've got to meet that market demand. So I think we took the chance with Poster Boy. We took a chance with multiple services to King of Swing because he did such a great job and he's such fantastic bloodlines. And like you said, going to Confederate this season, similarly, absolute champion. And there's only likely to breed on. So I think there's going to be strong demand when the time comes for his foals. And we've already seen out of the Melbourne APG sale that there is strong demand for that King of Swing bloodline.
I'm not surprised. All reports are, and just looking at that filly in Melbourne on the weekend as well, they are just outstanding types. We know type sells, but then when you add his racetrack Ds and his breeding, and it really is the whole package. So I'm hoping that continues for you at the Sydney APG sales, where you've got lot 204, which is a King of Swing out of Burnback. Syncopated Shuffle was a 2-year-old winner last year, which is out of this mare. So it's a relevant family.
Yes, most definitely. If you actually look through that family, it's very strong. It's a strong Australian family. It goes right back to Son of Otara that won one of the very first APG finals as a 2-year-old. There's been some brilliant winners come out of it. There's some relevant crosses to that Rock and Roll Hanover line with Rock and Roll Raider. It's doing a great job. So look. This colt, he's a typical King of Swing from what I'm hearing. He was like a little puppy dog. He would follow you around the paddock. You could do anything with him. My 3 kids could walk him around, do anything with the horse. He's fantastic. He's been down with the Tillmans. They're preparing him. And the comments that I've got back are that he loves his work. He actually seeks it out. He's beautiful to do anything with. And he paces absolutely everywhere he goes. He's a magnificent, big, rangy colt, and I think he'll present well, and I hope there's going to be a bit of demand for it.
Certainly. So he's nice and early in that sale. So make sure you go and check him out. And King of Swing was so beautifully gated. So not surprised to hear that they're all naturals out in the paddock even before breaking. Lot 224 is a Huntsville out of Major Murmur. And when you look at this family, well, there's only 2 dams on the page. Shout Aloud has been a prolific producer. So you're getting very close to that family. And Huntsville, well, I'm sure the demand is going to be there for him as well because he hasn't been available for the last few years at the yearling sales.
Yeah, this guy's a cracker. My son named him Elvis as his paddock name, and he is a rock star. He is a beautiful looking animal. He's big and strong, and I think he really does his family well. He does it proud. That family, there's some brilliant crosses along that sort of Sun Beach Mach 3 line that Huntsville's got. You've got Smooth Bart, who, he did a fantastic job winning over 300,000. Smooth Cash, 100,000, and Missed by Red. She was second in the APG 2-year-old fillies at final at Menangle, and she won about 100,000 herself. So, I mean, that family, crosses very well with that line. So I wouldn't be surprised to see that he continues. There's others in the family, that you go to Aurora Joy, who's done brilliantly up there in Queensland. She did well in the APG Gold Bullion, winning that final at Albion Park a couple of years ago. So, it is a great family, and I think it's going to breed on.
Okay, and the third and final of your yearlings is lot 229, another King of Swing out of Miss Iconic. So this is a first foal, and I was just having a brief look at the pedigree page before we came on to chat. That 3x3 to Arts Place, it's been really successful, and I'm assuming that is a bit of the reasoning behind this breeding decision.
Yeah, absolutely. It was all about the crosses here, and I took a look at what the family has done crossing, to particular lines, and the Western or Rock and Roll Hanover line featured quite strongly through this family. The likes of Wolf Stride and Cherry Stride. Wolf Stride, he speaks for himself, but Cherry Stride won Go Girlfriend series at Menangle, running 151, did a great job. Even one of the youngsters, Franco Weston. And truly, this colt has come out really well. Louise Tillman has said that this guy is one of their favourites of the stable. He's beautiful, athletic, loves his work, and he's easy to do anything with. And as you said, really well gated. It's just such a prominent thing for the King of Swings.
Well, it's so important in this day and age when they're going so fast. They can't afford to have a not an economical gator, and that's certainly something King of Swing showed. So 3 beautiful colts. What are your feelings? Are you excited? Are you going in with a bit of trepidation? And for those who are watching and have been intrigued by what we've talked about, how can they get some more information? I'm assuming there'll be some photos and videos that they can look at even pre-sale.
Yeah, look, very excited. We think we've actually got a 4th colt as well. We think all 4 represent great value at their various points in the market. We are there to sell, so we're not there to play games. So people can actually get into these quality families. We think the market's right. The Cobbitty Classic, they're all eligible for that. And 3 of the 3 are actually all New South Wales Breeders Blue. So great opportunity from the racing scene to recoup the dollars and actually do well. Look, in terms of the overall environment, I think it's going to be positive. I think I'm really looking forward to the Sydney sale. In terms of photographs and videos, etc., Louise told me this morning they're being taken tomorrow. So once those are through, they'll go up online. The inspections can be done by contacting Gary and Louise. Obviously, they're in Victoria at the moment, but the horses will be coming up. And I understand they may be going to Alana and Alex for a couple of days before they go to the sale complex. So there may be an opportunity to inspect at Menangle there through Alana and Alex.
It will be here before we know it, the sales, but we wish you the very best of luck. Here's hoping you can grab some great results and they can be colts that you can follow with real interest throughout their career, as you have with Sagano last year. That's a great story and something I'm sure you're very, very proud of. Thank you for your time, and we'll catch up again shortly.
Thank you, Britt, and thanks to all the Cobbitty team. Belinda, Megs and the team have done a great job, supported us all the way in everything we do. So I wish them well and the other vendors well in the sale as well. Thanks again.